bachelor's in communications. I'm working on a master's in business management. Okay? So that's the first thing I want y'all to really listen to, is the fact that I did play professional football, but I also have a degree, right? So that's extremely important, and I'm gonna tell y'all why here in just a minute. All right, so like I said, I was fortunate enough to go on and play a little bit of professional football. I played for a few years with the Bills and the 49ers. I got hurt, and I sustained an injury to my left shoulder. I tore my rotator cuff, and that pretty much ended my career, okay? So just to talk numbers of being straightforward with y'all, just so y'all know, if are there any athletes in here? Okay, cool. What sports?
Baseball.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk specific numbers with y'all, so y'all to know, like, the chances of you doing something professional, athletic wise, how much money you'll potentially make, how much money you're gonna see, all that stuff, okay? And normally I don't talk specific numbers, I don't like people to know, or try to even guesstimate how much money I have. So,
You rich, y'all.
I am not rich. So, back when I went to the NFL, the standard rookie deal was 3 years for 1.7 million, okay? So, no, it's 3 years for 1.5, I'm sorry. And then I signed for 3 years for 1.7. So I got a little bit more. I didn't have a signing bonus. A lot of times, those first round guys, they get those big signing bonuses. But no matter who you are, when you come into the NFL, whether you're the first pick or the last pick, your first year, you make the league minimum salary. Your second year is when they start paying you your contract money, okay? So back when I came in, the league minimum was $354,000. So that's what everybody got paid, no matter who you were. Then the second year, that's when they paid you, 4 or 5 million, whatever your contract say, okay? And then, every year your contract goes up a little bit, right? Then from there, you can sign a second deal or do whatever, depending on how well you play. For me, I got hurt, right? I had a specific plan. This was my plan. The reason why I majored in communications in college was because I wanted to become a commentator. One of those guys that talk about the game all day, make the big bucks, and they don't do them sit there and talk, right? That's what I wanted to do. I'm lazy. Outside of football, I don't like to do nothing. So I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit there and talk about football and make money, right? I'm gonna play 10, 15 years, build a Hall of Fame career, and move on and go be the successful sports commentator and just spend the rest of my life chilling. So,
That was your plan B?
that was plan A. That was my main plan. I had everything worked out, right? And then something happened. I got hurt, and that plan was done.
Do you think
Yeah.
you would be?
I know I would. I probably would just be retired. I was pretty damn good, if I say so myself. I went undrafted because of circumstances that happened in college. But when I got to the NFL, I had like a 5% chance of making the team, and I did. But I'm gonna talk numbers with y'all about that too, okay? So my plan got damaged, like it was no more good. I got hurt, and nobody's checking for a commentator that played 3 years in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the guys that really talk about the game, they've either spent their entire lives dealing with electronic media, TV, radio, or they played in the NFL for 10, 15 years. Like they're all over. So I knew right then and there, it's pretty much, I'm either gonna have to take a huge step back and just focus on electronic media for the next 20 years so I can become a commentator, or I'm gonna have to change my plan, right? So after I got hurt, I spent about another year and a half pursuing football, trying to get back in the NFL. I had surgery on my shoulder. I did a lot of rehab. I traveled all over the country trying to do rehab in as many places as I can with the best doctors and therapists I could find. It's pretty much I'm betting on myself. I'm like, hey, I know me, I know how hard I work, I know how good I am, so I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get to a certain point, right? But it all didn't work out. So I pulled up this thing before I came in here, right? And this is just the NFL. So number one, the NFL has more professional teams than any other sport, right? The closest to it is the NBA. The NFL has 32 professional teams, NBA has 31, right? The NFL has more players on a team than any other sport, right? So anybody How many scholarship athletes, just by guessing, do you think are on a Division I college football team? Anybody wanna guess? Let's throw it up.
22.
Huh? 22, anybody else? About five on a Division I college football team, you have 85 full scholarship players. 85. How many do you think on a Division I college basketball team?
Talk loud, y'all, so he can hear you.
12. So you got 85 players that you could put on scholarship for football and 12 for basketball. So I'm getting to a point, all right? You have way more spots on a football team than you have on any other sport out there. And so when I talk these numbers, I want you to imagine that they're a lot worse for baseball, track, basketball, because football has more spots than any other sport, all right? So this study was done a few years ago, and at that time, which is probably about similar now, there was about 1.1 million high school football players, right? All over the country. There's a little bit over 1 million football players that play high school football, right? Of that number, how many of y'all think goes to the NCAA?
How many?
Yeah, I'm gonna say half of
So it's about 250,000,
Yeah.
a little bit over 70,000. Right. See that number's small, right? That's less than 6.5%. Less than 6.5% of high school football players even make it to college to play football. Got it? All right, so of that number, of the 70,000, how many of those do you think eventually play in the NFL?
Somewhere like around 1,000, like in the thousands.
In the thousands, like how many, like a couple, 2, 3?
Yeah,
I'll say
like a
one.
roughly.
About 5?
Yeah, we gonna say 5.
256.
People say 800.
256 of those 1.1 million football players that started in high school eventually play in the NFL, right? That's less than 1.6% of 70,000.
Yeah, so that is worse than
Right.
any other sport. Is
So
worse.
any other sport, the numbers are far worse than that. Because football, you have 54 professional spots on that team, plus you have an 11-man practice squad. So you got 65 players on the NFL team. On the NBA team, you got like 18?
15.
Yeah, 15. You know what I mean? So the numbers are worse for those other sports, right? And then, so at this point, the NFL league minimum salary was $420,000. That's what you make in a year. It's damn good money, right? But how much do you think you see after taxes, paying your agent fees, all that stuff? How much?
About 100,000.
A little bit more than that. You see about 252,000. So about half of it's gone. So my point is this. I'll never tell somebody not to chase your dreams. I'll never tell you not to do what you believe in. In fact, I've gotten to this point in my life where I feel like, you know what I mean, if I have a burning desire to do something, if it's on my heart to do it, that's God telling me. Like that's God speaking to me saying, this is your purpose. So I pursue that thing with everything that I have. But I also have a plan just in case that thing doesn't work out. Right? And what do y'all think that plan is? I just said I'm working on a master's, right? 35 years old, and I'm still in school. So that's how important school is. You know what I mean? Like we a few months ago, I know y'all remember when they had the billboards up, like former Memphis City School product and all that stuff. They had Yo Gotti on one of them, and there was a debate going on Facebook. And I personally, like, I love Yo Gotti. I grew up with his brother, one of my best friends, dated his sister. So, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna go so far as to say I know the man, but I've met him a few times and we've had conversations. So he's a great guy. But when that billboard was put up, I was like, man, you know, why would they do that? You know, they making kids think that type of level of achievement is easy. It's not. It's extremely hard to get to that level. It's you know what I mean? Like pursue it with everything you have, but always have something else to fall back on because the numbers are just skewed. I was in high school, every single senior that I played with, every one of us except for one, it was 11 of us, 10 of us went on to play college football on scholarship. The following senior class, it was 7 of them, all 7 of them signed scholarships to play college football. And on my entire high school football team was about 50, 55 of us. Out of the 55, I'm the only one to go on to play in the NFL, right? Not only that,